Third game between Bomber and JaeDong. To the top left of the map here, the WEC Qualifier, we have Bomber, the Terran player, winning game number 1, losing it on the second map, though against this handsome fella down here to the bottom right. It is JaeDong, who with a circling run by crushed Bomber's natural, and I think the more important story was that he was able to defend flawlessly, basically, against the aggression that we saw coming in from Bomber. Having that Spinecrawler there and the Queens just with the clutch energy at the end to transfuse that Spinecrawler several times before it went down, saved JaeDong's base. Bomber didn't get through there, didn't really get that area that he wanted, couldn't do the damage, lost everything at the natural, and then typed out immediately. Didn't even try, knew that he just simply lost too much there. I actually didn't think that JaeDong would be able to hold that well against his opponent there, as I said, but he really kept that Spinecrawler alive. I was wondering if Bomber really focused that Spinecrawler with his Marines as well. I think with a pretty good focus, like once he would have been able to take that down, but did also have, of course, to deal with the Zerglings that were rushing in. So good job there by JaeDong, pulling that off after all. Bomber completely surprised, didn't see that counter aggression happen, with him not doing any damage to the economy. He knew that he couldn't recover here. So the Hellbite timing not working out for Bomber in the second game. Let's see what he has up his sleeve for game number 3. JaeDong is heading into the hatch first again, and Bomber, already being at 15 supply, is going into a command center first. Surprise, surprise! Not really something that we don't see often on a map like Nimbus. It's kind of the go-to build for a lot of Terran players there, trying to make that. So let's see how exactly this is going to work out in a later stage of the game. JaeDong is getting his gas and his spawning pool up again, but it's not going to be some kind of super aggressive move. I mentioned that for a simple reason. Like, you have a veteran in StarCraft 2 game observing, then you also know that we had a lot of players in the past just trying to go for a super early pool, for example, if they really want to roll the dice and expect an opponent to start with the command center first. This is a big map and it's a 4-player map, but you can still try and pull that off if you know that your opponent always goes into a command center first, which you usually don't. The problem here, of course, is that the double building already walls off this ramp, but we've seen maps in the past where you had players going into a very early pool in the one-base play because they knew that their opponent was kind of bound to go into a command center first, and if those Zerglings get in at the beginning, you're pretty much screwed. But with only a double structure already walling this off, it's highly unlikely, and it's also, of course, absolutely all in. I mean, this is really more of a counter build that you see when you can prepare for an opponent specifically. Those are these two sets of skills that you need in StarCraft 2. People have been talking about this a lot in the past. First of all, you of course need to have the ability to go into like a big tournament like MLG, DreamHack, a qualifier like this, Aces ROG, like IEM and whatnot, and then just have really good builds in all matchups and adjust to your opponent on the fly. And then you have to have also the skill set that allows you to prepare for one opponent in particular when you play your WCS matches, when you play, for example, in other tournaments where you're matched up against an opponent for a long time and you know exactly who you're facing, so that you can analyze his builds and can go for counter builds. That's mostly where stuff like this comes into play, when early pool could make sense on a base like that. One thing that I wanted to highlight now that the third base is being taken is that the third base for JaeDong is this pocket expand. He took his natural right down here. One of the reasons why you would do that is because you have the creep is spreading a bit faster towards the base over there, so that you can try and control that point a bit more with the queen rushing in. Because the queen from the main base is going to take quite some time to really go for the block there if the Hellions are streaming in. So you have the double queen down there. You can start to spread the creep out a bit further. This base is not going to be contested if it's the natural, but of course you're opening up that mineral line to early aggression. That's one of the things that you have to keep in mind. But you get that third kind of for free at that point if you go for that. So for Bomber, we have now the command center. The third one started in the main base. We have him with the barracks there too. We have the tech lab. And while we're just having both of those players just start with that stuff, bit of StarCraft history. One of the things that where these counter plays came into play was back in the days in Wings of Liberty, when we had Parting against Lenok, and Parting was kind of crushing every single Zerg player. And Lenok actually just knew that on certain maps like Daybreak, Parting was going for the same style of scouting every single time. every time Parting would send out a probe only to the first watchtower to make sure that he didn't die to early pools. He never scouted his opponent's bases, and Leenock identified that immediately. And with him identifying it, he just took double hatch before pool. It was one of the first times where we actually saw double hatch before pool in competitive play on that level. And Leenock did it because he knew that Parting never scouted. So he knew that Parting wouldn't do anything about it, completely analyzed the opponent's build, and that's when stuff like that really starts to matter. Nice snipe here on the Overlord there, but not fast enough to not reveal the orbital, but that was a really fast one. Doesn't scout too much there, so it doesn't get, yeah, that's the earliest kill that you could potentially get there. Important to note, though, that this time we have JaeDong with an economy that he can really rely upon. He didn't lose as many harvesters early on, so now we're gonna see more of a... Like, this is more of a challenge now for Bomber. This is more one of those things where it's going to be about the macro and micro that both of them are going to show later in the game. We have the queens out on the map for all of those creep tumors. He's also going for another base already, just macroing it up like a boss. Bomber does not really have a lot of army supply right now. He's just taking hard double upgrades, as does JaeDong. It's basically them just laying back for now and saying like, okay, we're just gonna go for the late game here. The drone is going for a sneaky expand up here. Wow, look at that. That's actually quite interesting that he tries to go for a ninja expand. I really like that. On a big 4-player map like this, ninja expands can really pay off. Talking about now a bit what JaeDong has on the map too. We have him with 17, 19, 20 creep tumors already, really starting to spread that out even before the 9-minute mark hits. He's on 6 gas, fully saturated there. Latic about to hit, and of course it's going to be the Mutalisks. And I'm really eager to see how that's going to plan out on a big map like it, because we talked a bit in map number 1 that Bomber didn't really need any Thors against the Mutalisks that we saw for JaeDong, just because he was already so far ahead and couldn't make it work with Bio. But in a game like this, it's very likely that JaeDong is getting a very, very sizable army of Mutalisks onto the map, and with that, Thors are usually the option to go for. We could see Bunny's Terran versus Zerg at the last tournament, Gfinity G3, that happened the last big offline tournament, where he really just showed what he can do with that. And the amazing thing was just like that Bunny was more or less advancing to be the Zerg killer, taking down Hyun in the finals, and it was absolutely amazing to see that. And one part of what he really used there was the Thors to keep the Mutalisks slow. The Thors, with the changes after the last patch, attack air units over ground units, so you won't ever see another fight where a battle occurs and the Thor just attacks Zerglings while Mutalisks are taking down Medivacs. So suddenly this is becoming a major thing, and I'm really eager to see if Bomber is going to try and use that. For now we have him just clearing creep, and that's the thing, of course, when those medivacs hit. You can walk onto creep, you take down creep tumors with a quick scan, and once your Zerg opponent tries to hunt you down, you just lift in the medivacs and you fly away. Great map control, by the way, by JaeDong. I want to highlight that again, not only the creep tumors that he puts out there, but the overlords that are every... Well, it's actually time to fly back, buddy. Ooh, yeah, that was clutch one, but he gets most of them. Yeah, I want to say that he's actually controlling all of these spaces here as well. Like, he's moving in with overlords at nearly every position where Bomber could expand again, making sure that there is creep so that the expansion is at least going to be delayed. The 4th over here is done, and Bomber is far from scouting that this base is going to be has been taken. So there's absolutely nothing for him right now. We have Mutalisks being built 2-2 for both players. Combat shields also about to be done. The harvester count and army supply, as you can see, we have the army supply a bit higher for Bomber. Pretty normal actually in a game like that, at least at this stage of the game. But now it's time for that one siege tank is, by the way, okay, he has 3 by now. He's moving out already, and that's a pretty interesting push timing that he has there. Widowmine's at the front, setting up his position. Siege tanks as well. Bomber is one of the players that really sticks it out with the tanks in the matchup too. It was the go-to composition in Wings of Liberty, and ever since, Bomber's still one of the few Terran players that is relying on siege tanks heavily in the matchup. But of course, Widowmines, especially now with the new patch changes, they are a must-have. And here comes the Zerg player, trying to dodge those shots with the Widowmines. Few kills on those, 8 and 2, getting a fair amount of hits off. That I'm not quite sure what that drone was about to do there, but one of the medivacs is already down, and the second one is being hunted. Yeah, Afterburners just barely taking down the Marines now, but not even losing Mutalisks. That's a good move in the end by JaeDong, taking down those. 2-2 about to be completed. Same true for JaeDong as well. As you can see here on the upgrade tab, those are going to hit in just a few seconds for both players. There they are. And the armor upgrade for JaeDong should be done also in a few seconds, but there. That's a massive army supply lead that we have for Bomber right now. Doesn't get any Thors. Infestation Pit though started, and we've been talking about the 3-3 and the tech into Hive, and there it is again. Whoa! Bomber apparently, oh my god, he's drunk at the wheel. He's losing so many of his Marines to the early banelings that were moving in there. The Mutalisks apparently don't even care about that fight. They're aiming straight for the base over there. There's not really a lot to defend. If he moves out with that army, and he can go straight in for that, and he does. Did he scout the 4th? There was a scan a second ago. No, he still didn't see it. Bomber, what are you doing? In the final second, he's finally moving back with the Marines, but so many of the Marines already lost against the Banelings. Those Baneling connects that we saw there for JaeDong, they were great. And the Mutalisks with a flyby here, going straight ham on that bunker, taking that down. And he can also go, yeah, he's going for the rest of the SCVs too. Can even snap another couple of supply depots if he really wants to. Bomber is completely relying on Widow Mines here. Not a single Thor is being built. 3-3 started for him. Hunting Medivacs, at least trying to. There's still an Overlord spreading creep over there at the 4th. And he's going straight for the base. He's sniping that one missile turret that we saw there. Losing the Overlord for JaeDong means also that he's being supply blocked. But resources lost. 6,000 against 4,000. Might sound bad, but with that 4th base behind it, JaeDong can certainly afford it. He's going into the Hive Tech, but we have a pretty sick army for Bomber once again moving cross map. And that's of course another question here. Can JaeDong really face a big army like this in a straight up fight? He has way too few army supply to really pull it off, especially if Bomber gets the siege up position with the Widow Mines and also the siege tanks. That's the big problem that he has. Those run-bys and those attempts by JaeDong to just pick small parts of the army off, they were great. But a big army fight, I'm not quite sure if he can win that with good splits of Bomber. And Bomber is starting to show these. Earlier, he didn't see those Banelings rolling in a few times, but now he seems to be more on top of his game. And if he times that well with a 3-3, JaeDong is going to be in trouble. JaeDong is on the way to Hive Tech, but he's far away from starting the last set of upgrades. And Bomber is already at 200 supply. Here come the Banelings. He doesn't have the numbers though. 11 Banelings, that's all that he has for now. Bomber has 70 Marines alone. There's one siege tank that's still alive. And he is currently getting those upgrades close to finish. Widow Mines everywhere. Could get another shot off with those. There are a few up at the top. Not really successful with that, but here we go. Now we're talking. 23 more Widow Mines on the way. And that's the spirit. He wants to go for that, but he is already losing quite a lot. Bomber still doesn't know about the 4th base, which is absolutely stunning to me. He must know that there is a 4th somewhere. Widow Mines again with the attempted snipe, but well done by Bomber, taking it out before it could hit. Sorry, by JaeDong. JaeDong taking out the Widow Mine here, of course. Once again, the Mutalisks starting to move in. The 3-3 is done. The 3-3 for Bomber is completed. JaeDong started his own upgrades, but this is Bomber's time to shine, and he is going for it. He wants to at least. Taking those hits. Still enough Marines to contest that as long as he... another good hit with the Baneling just at the end. First one didn't really hit anything there. Here the Widow Mines, oh my god, those hits were great, but also damaging a lot of those medivacs. And Bomber says, JaeDong says thank you and takes them out. But another hit against the Mutalisks could be that demise. They need to be careful. But as you can see, suddenly we have JaeDong, the one in a supply lead. He killed so many of those medivacs in the last fight. The Widow Mines doing a lot of damage against the ground forces of the Dong, but then also damaging all those medivacs. And that was a big issue since they were down to the rat and JaeDong just swooped in those bouncing glaives. They took down medivac after medivac. In total, Bomber lost 4 in that fight. 8 Mutalisks in the game have been killed. 134 Marines already. 238 Zerglings. And this 4th over here is still unscouted. Bomber is looking for that 4th. He's like, where is that 4th? He wants it. And he's finally finding it with a Marine that starts to run in here. But yeah, he's chased down by those Zerglings hard. And JaeDong playing this pretty well. Oh my god, the snipe! Oh god. He sees the double medivac heading in, and that was a great move there. Those spider senses tingling once again for JaeDong, moving in with the Mutalisk flock again against this position. He has currently 21. He's just aiming for the orbital. He's aiming for the orbital. He's taking down the harvesters now too. JaeDong occupying his opponent here, going at it at will, and Bomber really starts to struggle a bit. I mean, Bomber is starting to look at this and he doesn't really know how to approach that. I'm still baffled that he doesn't get Thors. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Thor's right now, with what we are seeing in the last few matches against Ling Muta Baneling, are absolutely crucial in the matchup. I've been talking to Snoot a lot at Gfinity G3, and he said that, in his opinion, Ling Muta Baneling is going to have a very tough time once Terran players really figure out how to properly incorporate Thors in their unit composition. And right now we see Bomber completely foregoing that unit. So he's relying on Marines. He's relying on the hit! Whoa! Oh my god, holy shit, what a Widow landmine drop that we saw there. And that was just pure art by JaeDong. Oh my god. Like, his new nickname should be Michelangelo. Like, this was amazing. What a hit against the Marines. That landmine did so much damage. Adrenaline Glance plus 3 attack for the Flyers is on the way. What about the amount of Banelings that we have? It's still 20. Bomber apparently is like going straight for the natural right now. He just doesn't care any longer. He's going for it. He's trying to, at least. But there's only a macro edge that he's currently going for. At the same time, the Mutalists are streaming in again. JaeDong! The Dong! Oh god, Bomber lost the ground army. He's going for a 4th base now. JaeDong is building his 5th at the same time. Up here we have a Widowmine doing damage. 10 kills already. And Harvest has killed 4 against 10. JaeDong still in hot pursuit with those Mutalists. He's looking at 19 of them. The plus 3 attack upgrade for the Mutalists will be done in just a few. That's exactly what you want to have with a hit and run unit. And he's going to hit and run hard. We have now, well, most of those mines actually, or of those bases already mined out. There's not a lot left for Bomber. He desperately needs that 4th. It would be well advised to get another one, I guess. That siege tank, he is a long way from home. I'm like, where are you going, buddy? I think that siege tank driver is absolutely drunk. But it may... That's a shitty day as a siege tank when you're being killed by drones. Oh my god. Yeah, that tank was definitely drunk. Alright, so we have once more the Bio Forces rushing in there. Bomber at 180 against JaeDong's 168. And Bomber is like, look at this parade put that we see there. Marines and Marauders moving straight to the right side. And is he really bringing the SCVs with him? It looks more and more like he's actually bringing SCVs with him. I thought that he was transitioning them over, but he's going for it. How many harvests does he have? We have it at 51. Oh my god, he wants apparently to max out his army supply, and he's even sacking this many SCVs, or it was just a simple misclick. Whatever he's doing, like, those SCVs are definitely part of the party now. They wanted to be part of the action. Mittendrin steht nur dabei, that's what we usually say in Germany. So, that is, yeah, those SCVs are a little bit bloodthirsty, if you ask me. Apparently he wants to take that base over there. That makes a bit more sense. He lost a few of those regardless, but Bomber is starting to really now shine a bit more with his micro and of course his multitasking, because we have him sending units at so many positions of the map now, and he's starting to keep much better track of them as he did early on. Resources lost 28,000 against 23,000. They're still maintaining the difference a bit, but JaeDong with another snipe towards the top, and Bomber's army is completely out of position to defend this. He's gonna lose that, and Lings are running into the main base. Bomber is wide open now. He's losing a lot here. Like, that's production that's suddenly being camped, and he has to react. He has to send units back, and that's of course units that are missing to defend against the Mutalists. Another drop attempt down here at the bottom, already taken down. The Queen even surviving, pulls that back. The Zerglings in the main base, a few of them even burrow. That's gonna be another nuisance a bit later on. He's still losing buildings up at the top of the ramp. We have him currently in the supply book too. He's losing the armory here as well. He's losing even more. And the counter-aggression by Bomber here down to the bottom. I mean, the Zerglings are already starting to clean these units up. Adrenaline Glance is done. He's gonna most likely lose this base here, but we already have him with building another one. JaeDong does have most of his units to the top left now, taking down even more supply depots. The problem for him really being that he just doesn't have the resources any longer. Minerals are a big problem for JaeDong. He has so much gas, but he doesn't have the minerals. And those Mutalists, they are struggling against the Marines. He needs to hunt down the Marines. And oh, if he gets the Medivacs, that would be a big win too. Without the Medivacs, every stim is gonna hurt the Terran player. And we're talking about JaeDong not really having the mineral account anymore. But JaeDong at the same time, or sorry, Bomber at the same time is also in a position where he does not really have an income to write home about. That base, losing that, is a problem for JaeDong. That's definitely true, but he still has a mining base up here at the top. Could send a few harvesters over for the saturation. He still has them. 39 against 53. Mutalists trying to pick off a unit, or a stray unit here and there, and he goes for the Marauders. Marauders have not learned yet how to shoot air, and most of them are already dead. if he catches the base to the left side, that would be great. If he sees this one, he could go straight for it. More medivacs going down, and we have the medivac count down to 2. Medivac count is down to 2. JaeDong! He doesn't see it. Oh my god. He just didn't see it, and now we have once again another force of Bomber going for the base, sniping this up here at the top. He sees that he needs to find out that there's another base. If JaeDong doesn't find this base, it's all over for him, and it's already looking pretty bad. He's down 50, 60 supply. Marines moving in from every single angle, trying to capture this army, and at the same time defend the base over here, of course. The Mule Hammer being dropped right under the nose of JaeDong, taunting him here. Bomber is really starting to roll, and yes, he sees the Widow Mines too. Is he really moving in? He's trying to bait the shots off, not getting those. Good reaction by Bomber. Another force being attacked up here at the top, and all of those Marauders are gone, but the army supply is at 126 against 55. Oh my god. JaeDong, it doesn't look good for him. It doesn't good look for the Dong. The Baneling traps were amazing. The initial Baneling hits that we had in most of the fights against Bomber were great too, but Bomber with just pure bio takes the game with a 2-1 against JaeDong and is now in the lead in the best of 5 series.